What's going on? What's going on? It's your boy, Storyseller Jet. Today, another episode with on the That's So Fire Talk Show. And we have a special guest with us here today, Mr. Tim Pitsenbarger.
Barger, there you go.
We practiced this actually at the very beginning because he has a awesome last name, which is German, right?
It's German, yeah.
German, and we were talking about that earlier, and I still mess it up. Pitsenbarger.
There you go.
There you go. So today we are going to talk about a lot of really cool things about life, challenges, and also funnels. This guy is a wizard at creating funnels and creating offers and all of that. So we're gonna dive into that conversation today. But super excited to meet you. Not meet you. This is the second time we've met. Super excited to have you on the show today.
I'm happy to be here, man. Thank you.
Super exciting. So we met last week at Myron Golden's Bible study. Man, awesome.
Oh, it's always great there.
Yeah. We learned so much, and actually today too we talked. We went to that same event, a Bible study. What did you think about today?
Oh, it's amazing. You know, like he was speaking today was so much truth. You know, it's like God wants to use you in the little small things, and I go like this because he was like a little itty bitty thing. But yeah, man, God uses you in the things that probably since you were a child were the things that you were ashamed of or made fun of about, or the adults even probably made you feel insecure of. And the whole time there was a whole bigger story to it. Like that's where God wanted to use you. And in my opinion, I think that that's why you're attacked from such a young age in certain things, because that's where your purpose is.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll dive onto this in just a minute. But before we get fully started on the talk show today, why don't we do a quick introduction who Tim Pitsenbarger is, and share with the people about a little bit about your experience, and then we'll go in the podcast today.
Yeah, sure thing.
I cannot talk today. What's going on?
Dude, I've been live. I don't care. I've been dying to go. There you go. Like I've been talking really low because I'm like, I think there's something in my throat.
Yeah.
I'm good now.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Right.
So just me in general, man. Yeah. I was born in Chicago. My whole family moved to Puerto Rico when I was 4, and I lived there till I was just about to turn 22. So like I've never been to school in the U.S. or anything.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. It's interesting, but like my dad's first language was English. My mom speaks perfect English too, so like English was always heavy like in our house. It was still the first language, even though going to school there and everything is Spanish. So I had to learn Spanish really quick because I moved there mid-4s. At 5, you start kindergarten. You better learn fast, right? So started like that, yeah. And man, like long story short, when I came to Florida, and what got me into entrepreneurship is nothing more than I was just sick of working for other people. Like it's like then I got into like what my real calling is and everything and all that kind of stuff. But the truth is, what really got me to discover this beautiful world of online marketing in 2013.
2013.
Yeah.
So it's been like a while since you've been involved in doing funnels and offers and all this fun stuff.
And a lot of ups and downs, tons of downs, but that's always good because it teaches you what doesn't work, right? So you're only left with just the few things that do. But yeah, I remember I was at a grocery store, and when magazines were still a little bit more of a thing than they are now, and at the bottom section there was always like a business section, and I picked up this entrepreneur magazine, and it was, I found the story of this one person, and it was about digital marketing and like affiliate marketing and everything. Because I was looking I was this close to opening a mechanic shop, because even though I'm not a mechanic, my father is, and my job I had been doing for a long time, I worked in the auto parts industry, and I was supplying parts to like all the local shops and everything.
Really?
So it's kind of like what I knew. Say maybe I'll open a shop, But I was looking at everything, like in those magazines, even like how to invest in like little candy machines to put out in places and rent out and everything. But in that, flipping those pages, I discovered online marketing.
This is so fascinating. And while you're talking about this right now, it takes me back to Russell Brunson's kind of backstory too. I don't know if you knew that, but for him, when he was like a kid, he would be like collecting a bunch of like
brochures
and stamps and stuff like
coupons.
that.
Yeah.
And also like subscribing into like
mail
different
list.
magazine mail lists to kind of like get those, and that is what actually started the passion for him to be in the funnel. So you have a very similar story there.
Yeah, but it all came from just like it just became tough. Like what I did specifically in the auto part industry, and it was like for two major companies. I just don't want to mention them here, but you see their stores everywhere, right? So I was a commercial account manager, basically like the business to business manager. So like you wouldn't see me in the store. I'll be hidden in the back dealing with shops yelling at me all day. It's like, where are my parts and everything? And my God, it came down to like literally like it became not being good at sales. It had nothing to do with that. It came up to really who could kiss their behind the most. And like when I was already at my highest, I just can't do this anymore. I remember this big shop, this big name, where I worked very hard to get their business. All of a sudden, I noticed they're not ordering parts from me anymore. So I reach out to them. He says, well, your competitor brought us our own refrigerator with ice cream in it. So we started buying from them. I'm just like,
wow.
You seriously telling me this? It's like, so yeah, it was, and the pay wasn't great either. It's not like it was worth it, you know? So yeah.
Yeah. So that was your original, I guess, like doorway to the funnels and like online marketing types of stuff. And obviously, as part of your journey, you have worked at ClickFunnels for, like you said, 6 years?
6 years I worked there, yeah.
Yeah. So how did you get into like working with ClickFunnels?
Yeah, so it was funny. So before working there, I had gotten into creating funnels and everything because like one of my many business journeys I went on, it was selling, and I'm still technically like a distributor for the company, but I don't know if you've heard of Kangen water machines, they're like water ionizers and stuff.
Yeah.
And this one guy I saw online and everything, he was killing it. I'm like, man, what's your trick? He goes, well, I get my leads through funnels and through this thing called ClickFunnels. And I'm like, interesting. So like I became an affiliate, like I bought through his affiliate link, got a little funnel, and I became obsessed with it. And during that time, a person that was in that same company that we became friends and everything, like 2 years down the line, he asked me, hey, are you going to be coming to this ClickFunnels event here in Orlando or something? I'm like, no, I was going through some personal stuff, which we could get into too, because it kind of involves funnels in a weird way. But I was like, no, I'm just going through some things. I'm not going to be there. And I'm like, why? He goes, well, I'm going to be meeting up with the team. I'm like, what do you mean team? Well, yeah, the ClickFunnels team. I'm like, again, what do you mean the team? That doesn't say anything to me. He goes, man, I forgot. I've never even told you. I've been working at ClickFunnels for the past year or something. I'm like, you could work there? Like I use them all the time, And interesting. He goes, yeah, man, they're actually looking for people. You should like take it. I'm like, that time I said no. I'm like, no, I'm on this journey of I'm never going to work for another company in my life, for no one else. I said, no, I appreciate it. But like a year later or something, it came up again. And I just said, you know what the heck? I'm literally working on this stuff all day, every day. How cool would it? I mean, I love the culture, love everything about this stuff. Why not do
joining
it?
And
yeah. So
that.
It's funny. It's like the first role I took there was like tech support. And like you had to send a video of, at least showing you knew enough. And I sent this video. I'm like, this is what I done. This is what I do. And it was like this whole thing. Like it was like, got hired overnight pretty much.
Wow, that's cool.
They were like, can you start Monday? I'm like, yeah.
Awesome.
That's kind of where that started.
Yeah. So you've obviously been working there for 6 years. What were some of the biggest project or involvement that you've had that you worked on that a lot of people right now are, obviously benefiting from it?
Oh yeah. Like there's a few of them that I got to do when I was there. Really fun one was, like they needed to be very careful with, like, say, like on the tech support side of things, if people reached out for issues they were having, like you could provide, if you had a lot of knowledge, you could provide all these customized like workarounds and stuff, but they weren't native to the platform. So you need to be very careful with what you would say and everything. And then one time they were just like, you know what, we're going to do this thing where we're going to kind of let everyone open the gates to their knowledge. and they did like this competition, this contest of like whoever would create the most customized documents with videos would like win or something. And the top person, like besides me, because I ended up winning, the top one, like other person that did, he created, I think was 3 videos. I created 16.
16 videos.
Yeah, 16 of them, and they were all. This is weird because like I breathe this stuff, and that led to actually me being more noticed, and certain inner like management people at the time had reached out. Hey, we're doing these certain programs. We want you to kind of be part of it. So from there, man, I became part of like what was called the outreach team, media branding and stuff, and I ended up basically becoming the person that would meet like with engineers to figure out like what are they creating, and then I will become kind of like the talking head for that to the masses. Like how can I word it better, because like engineers are very technical and the average person wouldn't like understand it. So how can I not dumb it down, because that's not the right word, but how can I make it sound easier and explainable? And I would all of a sudden overnight I became, I guess I'm talking on videos now.
Yeah.
Something I was very not comfortable with, and God put me there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't it funny how, like from the talk this morning with Myron Golden, like some of the things that like we feel like we're not very worthy of, and God uses those types of things to kind of really elevate us. Like, talking about the mustard seed, like for me, obviously before, accent was a big deal for me. I did not want to start the show. I've always wanted to be behind the camera to do all this kind of stuff, instead of like, taking that step. But now being in that side of the camera, like embracing my accent, embracing like, messing up and doing all of that, that has become like one of my greatest strength. And I don't know if you have a similar stories like that. But God uses the very small little thing to kind of really try to elevate you into like, doing even bigger stuff.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like, so like, and this kind of goes into what we were talking about, like when you're young, you're going to be attacked in certain things, and that's because that's your calling, right? So what made it crazy, and even the fact that I'm willing to be here is crazy.
Yeah.
And this is live, like the fact I'm daring to speak is absolutely crazy. Why? Because most of my life, and it became a struggle to even dare to think about one day even talking about this, because it became such my identity, but I stuttered really bad. And that became like my identity. I struggled with it. I hated myself for it. It's always sad, like for my parents to hear about this, because my parents basically gave me the best life possible. So I didn't lack anything. Yet, if you ask me how was my childhood, I hated it. Because when you hate something about yourself, there's no materialistic thing. There's no vacation. There's no lack of something that could make up for it if you're just miserable with yourself. And the stuttering, like, I knew what it was to be on the phone with someone, them not know on the other side of this conversation, I'm bleeding from the mouth because I punched myself so many times out of frustration.
Really?
I promise. And yeah, so it got really bad. So what ended up kind of slowly getting me out of that was actually at a marketing event for the whole water thing. And I remember just being there and me thinking about, it's like I could never get good at sales because I'm not going to talk to anyone. I could never do this. But I went, and I remember hearing this lady talk. It was about the product. That's not what I'm talking about right now. But she was talking about how it saved her life, how she was like she was in hospice, like on her deathbed. And It changed her life. But that clicked to me, like more than about the product or anything. It's like she learned about the thing that saved her because someone told her about it. And I'm like, I've been so selfish, putting myself first. And I'm like, I just told God that, listen, I'm going to take myself out of the equation and let you use me, stuttering or not. I'm going to ignore the fact of how uncomfortable I am because I feel like I could be changing people's lives, or you could be using me to change other people's lives, and I'm not allowing you to do so. And what's crazy, that same day, the first time ever I opened up about it, And I told who was my mentor at the time, the one, the first person I discovered through this. And I'm telling him about it, and he's like looking at me like I'm crazy. And I'm like, what's wrong? He was like, this is an inspiring story, but you haven't stuttered once, so I don't know what you're talking about. Can you believe that? Wow. And I'm like, wait a second. Like, you're right. I haven't stuttered once. This is so weird. So down the line, I started to, because sometimes it still happens. It's still in there. So if I end up doing it now, but don't worry. Don't be like, oh no, I broke him. It's but down the line, I started to figure out more techniques and stuff on how to improve it. And we'll dive into that because there's some really cool things I think I could tell people that could help them too. Mm-hmm. But kind of backing up a little bit and going into why it's so crazy that I'm here and God, all of a sudden I'm doing videos for huge companies like ClickFunnels and stuff. Not too long ago, literally a few months ago, not even a year, I was at Myron Golden's and he said something that made me realize something. And it's something I already knew, but the way he said it just clicked like this whole movie in my head in 3 seconds. And he was talking about like how Satan is an angel of light. It says it in the Bible, right? You're like, wow, because he goes, but there's good light and there's bad light. There's good light where it could shine your path, right? It could kind of lead your way. Mm-hmm. But if that light turns around, it's a blinding light. That's not a good light. And when he said that, everyone was like, wow, that's so deep. And yes, it was deep. I got mad.
You got mad?
Oh, dude, I got so angry. And because it's like, have you ever had like this movie playing in your head in 2 seconds and then all of a sudden it made sense? Because what I pictured going back to one of my first jobs at the auto parts store, I remember way back when I first started there, it was when the LED lights started to really come out. Mm-hmm. And it's like the smaller the light, the more wow it was. And I pictured that light. And it made sense why you're being attacked when you're a kid. Because you're too small, you're too innocent to realize how small that little light is.
Yeah.
So in my case, yeah, dude, that's why it made me angry. Because like, man, if I would have known, I could have slapped that light out of my way or just looked the other way. But no, in my case, it was the stuttering. That light was always there. You're never going to be anyone. You're going to be struggling. I remember one time in high school, wanting to do the right thing. I had a girlfriend at the time. I wanted to go to the movies. Instead of sneaking out to the movies, I call her dad to ask if it was okay. He stops me midway. He's like, I would never let my daughter be with someone that can't even speak like a man.
Wow.
And just left me there. To that point. So that was the light. That was the light. And for me, it was stuttering. For certain people, it could be maybe something happened to you as a kid, something that was done to you. Maybe you did something at some point in your life you haven't forgiven yourself for. There's always something there. It could be something as what a lot of people think as simple as an accent. But for you, that wasn't something simple. Because it's that light shining in your eyes, blinding you. Like that's all you could think about. Well, look at what you could create.
Yeah.
But I feel, because it makes sense, he was the angel of light. He's capable of shining that light in your eyes. And it blinds you, man.
This is really deep, man. I'm glad that you shared that story. And now, like, if you told me about this and I was like, didn't you like, do trainings at ClickFunnels?
Yeah.
Like, and doing so many other stuff. Like, there is a video that you sent me, I think last week, about something that you were explaining too. Mm-hmm. I would never have thought that you struggled with stuttering.
It's crazy.
And like, having that as the light that is blinding you, but now stepping out of that becomes one of the greatest things to kind of really help you propel forward to like, what you're doing right now. Mm-hmm. This is incredible.
Thank you. Yeah. Praise God. Because it's led to so many things that like, wow, like that will have never happened. And people, I've been able to be used to bless, used by God to bless. I would have never been able to have been done,
Yeah, that's awesome. So now let's talk a little bit about some of the, like maybe even talking about the project that you had last week. I'm going to take it one step back because I think we should not gloss over that. You mentioned earlier about the stuttering, some techniques that you might be able to share with other
yes.
people
Yeah.
that are struggling with that. So what are some of the techniques that you've learned that has helped you
Yeah.
improve your stutter?
Well, there's I guess on the spiritual side, one of them would be do what I did, and not even just with studying, just with anything holding you back. Take yourself out of the equation. You can't be used to reach people if you're allowing your own self to get in the way for selfish reasons. And as painful as it was for me, it was selfish. You know, I was the one going through the pain. I was the one that dealt with, all the nonsense growing up, but I was still being selfish, right? So that's one of them. Get yourself out of the equation. Once you do that, as far as speech goes, there was a few things. Like I started to notice, and this is, I always explain this to people and people think it sounds crazy until they do it. And they're like, this changed my life. I'm like, if you want to speak well, become the person, it sounds crazy, become the person you are when you're alone in the shower. And what I mean by that, I was like, they're like, what? I'm like, think about it. You know all those arguments you win when you're in the shower and you're in your head and you're playing these movies in your head, or you're killing it on stage, or you're talking to the person you want to maybe approach about a sales pitch, or the girl or the guy you like or something. You don't stutter in your thoughts. You don't mess up. You're like the alter ego version of you. And I don't, even though I call it an alter ego, I think that's not your alter ego. I think that's the person you actually are.
100%.
Who you're supposed to step into. So how do you do that? So think about that person and practice it. Literally, start, like, say if you have a sales pitch coming up or a presentation, do it in your head. And at a certain point, imagine you have this volume knob. And as you're in there and you're in it, start turning that volume up until it starts coming out of your mouth. But match the tonality, the breathing, your vibration that you are in your brain as you're thinking about it. And all of a sudden, you start noticing you're speaking in a different way. And in my case, things start to make sense, because I remember my mom bought me a book that was, I think it literally was called Stutter No More by Dr. Someone. And there was this part in the book, it's the only thing I remember, that never made sense to me until now, because it's really hard to explain. But now once I went through this, I was like, it talked about, like, try to use front words. Try to speak from the front of your face. Almost like if you were blowing out as you were speaking. That never made sense to me, because all I picture is, how do you speak as you're blowing? It makes no sense at all. But next time, and everyone could practice this, when you're in that alter ego of you in your head and you start turning up that volume, you're going to notice you're going to speak from the front of your face. You're going to notice the feeling. Versus, like, when people who stutter, a lot of times you're going to notice they go, and it's like their voice is like stuck back here, and they start breathing heavy. And listen, it's just a different, I don't know what part of the brain or what triggers it. But when you start speaking from the front of your mouth or the front of your face, as crazy as it sounds, it feels like if you were blowing as you were speaking.
This is awesome.
Yeah.
Like, my goal for this talk show is, like, if we can impact one person that is watching this and that makes a difference in their life, I call this a success. And that tip that you just gave right there is so powerful. And obviously that has helped you. And I know that potentially could help somebody else as well. How long did it take you to practice that to kind of be to where you are at today?
I don't know, man, because I can't really put a time frame on practicing it. It became more of a, now that I kind of know this, let me put myself in situations where I could really put it to practice. Started recording my own little webinars. Started getting, like, in that company where I first started doing marketing, people who were starting to sell very well and everything, they would ask them, hey, can you speak and share on the thing? And that was the first time I ever actually shared this story.
Wow.
People were like, what? Like, they were expecting all these sales techniques and everything. I was like, no, I want to talk about this. I want to put it to the test. And I ended up getting through that call. I'm like, man, this really works. So yeah, I think it didn't take much practice. Now, when I started doing videos at ClickFunnels, that's where I really discovered how to do it better. And when it comes to editing, I think it made me hyper focus on things that a lot of people don't. And that's allowed me now, like in my own services, like when I coach them on video, it's like, hey, if we're going to edit this, like, sometimes you could record piece by piece. Let's focus on how you end that word, because going into the next word, that it needs to make sense. It can't sound like that's what you're doing, Like you don't want it to seem like you chopped it up and everything. So how do you do that? End the word going more down in your tone or up in your tone, because the next sentence starts in this certain way. So think ahead. So it made me hyper focus on that stuff from a insecurity place. It's like you were like, my whole life I was so focused on like work around your words, because that's what you end up doing. Substitute this word for this one, because for some reason this word makes you stutter a little more.
Yeah.
It starts with a C, like communication. It makes you, it's like, so what can you substitute that for? So I became so hyper focused on that now I could actually use that to benefit me and benefit others.
Yeah. That's awesome. Now let's transition to the funnels, and obviously we'll do a quick introduction about your two businesses, and then we'll delve into like some teaching kind of moments for the people over here as well, which is the first time we're doing that on the show. So super excited for doing that. So what are the two businesses that you do? Funnel Mastery Bootcamp and NICUpreneur.
NICUpreneur, yeah. Yeah, so it's a mixture. Like, it's technically three businesses. I build funnels. And thank God, man, the past like 2 years has been just like referrals. So I don't really even advertise myself as a funnel builder, which has been really cool, because I've always been I've been blessed, and praise God, to do some amazing work for some big names. But I've always been big on never taking credit for their success in a way, because at the end of the day, I created a tool to help them magnify who they are.
Yeah.
And I'm not a big fan of like, there's funnel builders out there. You see them like, instead of posting themselves out there, they start showing, oh, I worked for this person. Look at the word he got. Look at the word she got. He got. Bro, you're just magnifying who they are.
Yeah. I'm going to challenge that a little bit, though.
Right.
I think it's important to not be, I can never pronounce that word, brogadicious or whatever, like, bragging and kind of, saying things like this. But I was the same way. Never wanted to talk about anything, like never wanted to talk about like the business. As you can see on this desk right now, there's like 10 different awards on there. I had somebody came, and I just started doing that maybe like in the past 2 weeks. I have somebody came in the studio. These awards were like behind a door. Like, you could not see them if I didn't point them out to you. And they just walked in and says like, hey, why aren't you talking about this? And I was like, I just kind of don't want to talk about it, because I don't want to seem like, I'm bragging about that. And he looked at me and said, Jet, you are doing me such a huge disservice not talking about that. Because now that gives me an opportunity to kind of know what you've been doing, and now you can help more people by kind of sharing some of your success. Yeah. So that's kind of what I'm saying. I wanted to tell you to kind of relay that information that they conveyed to me, because although I don't want to kind of totally brag on like some of the people that I've been helping, but that gives you the opportunity to be able to help some other people, because that potentially would maybe increase your credibility. Yeah. You have done fantastic work in doing all of that, but the next person, they might choose somebody else over you because they don't know all the great things that you've been doing. Maybe position it like that, what you just said. Like, you just, here are some of the examples of the people that I help, how did you use that? Like, put their message out there?
Like magnify
who they are. Yeah. But I don't think you should shy away from kind of sharing those types of stories with other people, because you are doing your next client a big disservice not being able to share some of this information. So I'm going to put you on the spot over here. Who are some of the people that you've been able to help that have like, make some massive success?
Oh, man. I don't put tons of names. So it's like, cause like there are a lot of private clients, but like, I've had the privilege of like working like with Myron Golden. Myron Golden also has several people in his inner circles, big names, that have also come to me, to help magnify who they are, you know, and everything. I'll mention one right now. I'm working because she's great. We're doing tons of work together. Allison Etnoff, she's amazing at doing government contracts and teaching government contracts and everything. So a lot of people like that.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think you should talk about these kind of stuff, even though I like how you position it, like, you know, that you've helped them. You know, I can never remember how you put it together.
Magnify
who they are, but I don't think you should shy away to talking about them.
Yeah, I guess, I mean, maybe it's just the introvert part of me or something, or just like not wanting. I'm so big on this, like, listen, I don't want to take credit for a lot of things, but like now if a client asks, like, hey, can you send me things? Like I've even sent you like one of the videos you like saw, like at the beginning, I brought like one of my own challenges I did, like my own boot camp. I brought a customer to speak and everything, and he like said, he's like, yeah, like when I met Tim, you know, he was already doing pretty good. He went like from $110,000 a month to like not even a full 2 months later, like to $247,000 a month, just by the little tweaks that we did. You know, so like if a client reaches, hey, can you send me some proof or something? Sure, here it is. I'm just not big on going like, you know, look at this guy. He's doing this because of me. That's not true. You know, it's.
I totally get that, and you know, positioning it like that, you know, he's doing all this stuff because of me. That is probably you know too much, but you should never. I think you would be doing people a disservice, like if you're not sharing some of the past successes that you've had. Like I never ever wanted to post like things on social media that kind of has like results or like, you know, things like that. But just last week, for example, I took a screenshot of like, you know, something that a client sent to me, and I shared that, and so many people were able to identify with that. Not saying that I was like, you know, being, you know, bragging about that, but by just sharing that brings the like, and it was not something like, you know, super successful. It's just like me going above and beyond of kind of what they were expecting. And she mentioned that on the text. But like, you know, sharing things like that, I think are great to kind of really share with other people who Tim's is, like what are some of the success that he's had, so I can like, you know, better trust him. Because if they don't know about you or know your track record, they probably could select the other person over you because they're kind of sharing more of that.
Yeah, and I guess that's where I kind of went into like the last, like, you know, like 2 years, I haven't really even had to advertise my funnel building part of what I do, because it's been like referral after referral after referral behind the scenes. So I think that's where I kind of like led into, is like, because you asked me like, what are your two businesses? Well, it's technically 3, but the funnel building one, which is technically my busiest one, I don't advertise it too much, you know? And to be honest, maybe part of that has to do with, because I also did work at ClickFunnels, and I always made it a point to like not mix both worlds for many reasons. Like you don't want it to come across as like, oh wait, is he taking advantage of his name and probably stealing potential business from affiliates? Because like if you think about it, think about like if you were like an affiliate, just you signed up for ClickFunnels or for Go High Levels, let's say, and you wanted to start advertising to make those affiliate sales. If someone who works at that company pops in and goes, yeah, I mean, you could trust him, but you know me, I'm gonna probably know more, even though it's probably not true. You could probably be way better. But there's this messed up disadvantage. It's like, oh man, he must know more. He works with the company. So I think it came from that too, from never wanting to mix it. And then also on the work world, you don't want upper management to start thinking, oh wait, is he not dedicating time to this because he's working on his own thing? So while I was doing my own thing, even before working for the company, I was very private about it.
Yeah.
You know, and like little by little, it started to become more known and known and known, you know, and now I'm just doing my own thing. But I think that plays a big part of it. But that's just, so funnel building is one of my businesses. It's my biggest one. But with the other two, I do Funnel Mastery Bootcamp, which is basically to teach people not so much what funnels are about, it's for people who already know and already have a successful business, but maybe they just want to hone in on it more, perfect it. They realize, okay, I've tried it a few times. I'm just not quite getting it. So that's for it. So it's like an intense, like it starts out like with a challenge, but then it leads to like a more like in-person event. Like the last one we did was at the JW Marriott in Tampa, which was pretty cool. So I actually achieved that. Praise God. And then my second one, which is where this comes from, the NICUpreneur, which is it's had its ups and downs as far as like what approach I take with it. Because it's my most personal one. Where the name NICUpreneur comes, like NICU, like where the babies go when they're first born and they're ill, they're sick. My daughter, my first daughter, when she was born, my wife was having some complications and everything. And long story short, she was born very early. She was born at 24 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah, she was born very unhealthy, obviously. Like her eyes were literally still sealed. Like,
wow.
There was a slight little line. She was 1 pound, 8.8 ounces. She fit in my hands like this.
1 pound, 8 ounces.
Yes, 8.8 ounces, basically a pound and a half. She was 12 inches. And, she spent 136 days there. So, like, my intro to fatherhood was brutal. Like, and it's not like, well, we just wait in the hospital until she's ready to get out. It's not like that. It's like every parent, and you have beautiful children, every parent's biggest fear, what is it? It's something you don't even want to talk about, is your child dying.
Yes, 100%.
And you don't even want to say that out loud. Mm-hmm. And it's like, in that journey, like we witnessed that happen. Me and my wife witnessed that happen so many times we lost count. And it's like, imagine your little baby there. Tiny, tiny, tiny little thing having all this weird forms of CPR performed on her. Like if you look at like when we finally left the hospital, like if they give you this pamphlet of everything that happened. And the first page, it's like as soon as she came out of her mother, 11 minutes bringing her back to life.
Wow.
And that happened in front of us before we could even. So during that journey, and I'm able to talk about it now, bro, but it was like living through that was horrible. The PTSD after the fact is real. Like you hear a beep and it reminds you of a beep of the monitor in the hospital. You start crying. If there's a movie scene, that there's a hospital scene or something like that, forget it. It's like you're like shaking. But we'll go into the business part of it. But a beautiful thing about it, because again, I need to give glory to God in every aspect I can, is even though it was a very stressful time, after the fact, after we got home, is that I think it hit us how bad it really was, because it's like you feel like you were holding your breath the whole time. That's when you break down, because like you're running from your thoughts when you're in there. It's like literally like during that time, I gained so much weight because we were in the hospital all the time. And when we would finally leave, like at midnight, 1 a.m, outside of the hospital, there was a 24 hours Baskin Robbins. And we would literally just stay in the car. We would order the biggest sundae we could, and we would just eat quiet. It's like you're trying to avoid your thoughts at any cost.
Yeah.
Like one of my craziest days, my toughest days was like the third day after that happened, after, my baby was born and everything. And they told me, you need to finally go home. You need to take a shower, at least try to sleep. Dude, I didn't want to be alone. To be stuck with your thoughts when you're going through that and you're trying to not really realize what's happening. But during that time though, 136 days is a pretty long time.
That is a long time,
Yeah.
like to be at the hospital and having to deal with that.
Oh, but thank God, because of what I do, I was able to be there all the time. I work from a laptop, right? And I witnessed a ton of things that I was very grateful I didn't have to go through as a parent or as a human being in general. But at the same time, there was this heavy sense of guilt. And what was that? Is that besides us, my wife and I, every other parent could not be there for some pretty tragic moments because of one thing. They had to go to work. Mm-hmm. And to see mothers deciding should I take my maternity leave now that I just had a baby, like naturally you should, or suffer through this, go back to work and not take my maternity leave until my baby comes home, God knows when. You know, it's to be even dealing with that. It's like I felt like it was so unfair. And even for men, you know, like I remember seeing a guy that was a construction worker show up like late because they found out the baby almost died. And he shows up, he's full of paint, filthy, suffering because he wasn't there to be there to comfort the baby as much as you humanly can.
Yeah.
You know, and seeing that, it gave me this mission. I'm like, I need to teach parents or people probably going into parenthood that there are other ways to make money. You don't need a job, you need an income. And in this beautiful world of digital marketing and funnels and everything, you can have multiple streams of income. All different ways. Like, you know, so that's where that came from. Like, even if it's a conversation starter, you know, it's like everywhere we go, like if we like travel, because we like to travel a lot, we always take the jackets because it's a conversation starter. A few of them, this one doesn't have it, but it has like a QR code. So they can scan it and it goes to a website and stuff for them to learn more, you know? And it's crazy because some people will probably see the name and it doesn't even click with them, but those who have been through it notice it immediately.
Yeah.
Like I've had people literally come up to me crying before we even start a conversation. It's like, is that what I think it is? I'm like, yeah. And I immediately noticed, say, yeah, because you could see it in their eyes.
Yeah.
Even me right now, I'm struggling to not choke up here because it's, you know, it's. I wish that I'm no parent to have to go through that, man.
It's tough. Man, this is an incredible story, and I thank you for sharing it.
Oh, thank you.
I appreciate that. And Russell Brunson in his book talks a lot about attractive character. I mean, you started that business and kind of doing all of that, but I think that should be a core part of your story that you share constantly with other people. I don't know if you've ever shot a video that kind of explains that overall.
Not fully, not with all the parts in it, you know, like I've talked about like my daughter's story. Haven't done an official video yet on the whole, like say the whole stuttering thing and everything.
I think you should do one for the stuttering thing. You should do one for this because those are powerful stories that I know that are going to be very impactful. So, man, I think you should do it.
Thank you. You know, it's like I've always thought about like if I were to talk about this on stage, like how I would end it. So, spoiler alert, you see my stage, this is how I'm going to end it. But it talks, you know, like you hear a lot of people talking, like we spoke about Myron Golden, he talks about it a lot. And it's so true that, and this is more on the stuttering thing, but say your accent thing and everything. He says like God is capable of taking your source of shame and making it into the source of your fame, right? So
you mentioned that last week and that was a Mac drop.
Yeah. So in this case, I guess this question isn't for you because you're already doing your thing. But if for those of you even watching this, if you truly believe that like God is capable of turning your source of shame into your source of fame, when will you finally allow him to do so?
Boom.
You know, it's like if you believe it, because every time someone hears that, oh well, amen, I received that. Praise God. Okay, well, you believe that. When will you finally allow him to do so?
Yeah.
It's up to you. And he could totally use you.
That's awesome. And that kind of talks about the, you know, mustard seed that he talked about today too. And I think that was a very powerful message. So super grateful for all of that. I cannot wait to look over my notes again and kind of, you know, listen to some of the things that he was talking about, but super powerful, like grateful for like, you know, people that, you know, take, you know, their stage and things like that to share the gospel and like, you know, doing all this stuff like that. So super powerful. Again, thanks so much for sharing that story.
Oh, you're very welcome.
I think you should definitely share it with more people. And I think that is a very impactful story that, you know, could, you know, change a lot of things for other people. So now, like talking about like, you know, funnels and stuff like that, obviously you help people build, you know, from scratch, doing all of that. For people that are considering, you know, delving into the online marketing, things like that, what is the first step? How can they get started in doing something like this?
Like if they want to like build like their own brand.
Their own brands, because you focus a lot about identity. I guess we're talking about the phono mastery because you teaching them about identity and how to use that in the phono world. So can we chat about that a little bit?
Yeah. I think the first thing you have to do is really focus on what is your story. Like, where were you when you finally decided this is what I need to be doing? Whatever it is that you do. It could be you do people's hair, you paint houses, you coach people financially, maybe you're a speech therapist, something. Like, what does it really, like, what made you think this is what I'm going to do? Okay, why? Like, what did it mean to you? Like, what happened in your life that made you decide that, right? And once you do that, then you need to focus on, okay, so people who went through something similar, how in what shape do they leave after they've worked with you? What result do you give them?
Yeah, transformational identity.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because the reason you need to focus on that first is because if you don't fully know your story and how it mixes in the people you're called to serve, you're going to have a hard time figuring out like what you offer. You're going to have a hard time even creating the copy in your phone because the copy needs to speak to the person reading it. And yes, there's a part that has to be about you because they're looking to hire you for whatever it is. But how do they see themselves in that? Right? And so you need to figure that part out. So then, okay, now I have the right to say I am the person that could help them with this.
Yeah.
But they need to see themselves in you. You can't just be saying, oh, yeah, I help people do this. Okay, what qualifies you to do that? And most of the time, what qualifies you isn't so much what you studied for, what you learned. It's what made you want to study it. And a lot of times, that's the part where you don't want to talk about. It's too personal.
Yeah.
You know, like the trauma or whatever it was. But that's what, I don't want to say it's what about selling, but it is what sells.
Yeah.
Because it allows people to relate to you, you know? Once you do that, then you can start going into how do you create copy? You know, like what is that hook going to be in your headline? How do you talk? Because like you want your hooks to basically speak to the pain that they're going through. You know, like say like Myron Golden again, he talks about like your headline or your hook needs to lead people away from pain versus pleasure. I agree 100%. I've always said it needs to reflect a mirror in their face of here's what you're going through. Like a lot of people want to go into like, hey, learn how to cut hair. For example, say if you were into cutting hair or something. It's like, no, the mirror should be, or the hook should be is like talking about like the struggles or the stuff you're dealing with because you haven't learned how to cut hair right, you know? And it's like the thing you're probably ashamed of. So that hook needs to be, a mirror in their face. And you need to be brutal about it. Like, throw salt in that wound because it needs to hook them in. It's like, that's me.
Yeah.
Then you start getting into like your sub headline. It's more like, hey, this could probably offer a solution to this. You should check it out. Then as you start going through the funnel or at least a landing page or sales page, so you got that hook, right? So you already got the pain. Now you want to share probably some testimonials if you have them because strangers will always sell you better than you could sell yourself.
Absolutely.
100%. So if you could get to testimonials there, perfect. So you already hooked them in with their pain. Like, so this guy, even though I'm mad at him right now because he put this mirror in my face, he knows who I am. So as much as I want to hit him right now because he's making me think about this, I'm hooked. I learned a little bit. I saw his video. He seems to know what he's talking about. Ooh, people are talking about him very well. This person received this transformation. This person received this one. Now, at the bottom of that, who is Tim? And that's where your story comes in. It's not like, hey, Tim's this awesome funnel builder. He can help you make a ton of money. No. Tim started here. He went through all this and everything. But because of this, he developed some certain skills to help other people do this. This is why people like working with him. Right? So you went from that hooked in the pain to slowly start getting to the more emotional, because people start out with, you hook them in, they start getting more emotional because they want that emotional connection. Then more towards the bottom, that's where you get into more details, because they're already past the emotional part. If they haven't bought yet, it's because they're making it into their logical part of their brain.
Yeah.
So that's where you have more bullet points. You know, like, hey, this includes this and this and that. I like to always add a part. I call it like the keeping it real part, or real talk. And that's the first time you could talk like in first person, even though it's in copy. Everything else is about Tim. That part, the let's get real talk, is like, hey, this is Tim talking to you.
Yeah.
If you're still here at this point, you're probably having doubt. You're having all these issues. But what's going to happen if you stay here? You know, more like a salesy type of thing,
Yeah.
but more logical. Like, hey, you already know that I know you, so I could keep it real with you. You're still slacking. You're taking too much time to make a decision. And it's putting that mirror back in their face, but like now in a way of like, this is your fault.
Yeah.
Are you going to make a decision in your life to change it, or are you going to stay where you're at? So it kind of starts with that. Again, hook, emotional, and start little by little getting more logical.
Yeah.
Down the line.
Yeah. So kind of following similar to what Russell teaches, hook,
Story offer.
Yes. Hook, story, offer.
Yeah, it's very similar. It's like hook, you get them. Now, what story are you telling them? How, you know, and you want that story for them to see themselves too in it, right?
Yeah.
And then what the offer is. And you could do that in a big thing or bite size over and over and over again. Like once you get to the section where it's about you, you're technically doing the same thing. How do you hook them to read about you, what the story is, what solution do you offer, what's the offer?
I love it.
And you just do that over and over and over and over again.
Yeah, I've never thought about it this way where, you know, I was thinking like hook, story, offer, not like hook, story, offer, and then next session, hook, story, offer.
It's technically both. If you stretch it out and you look at the finished product, it's a big hook, it's a big story, it's a big offer.
I love it.
But if you look in each one, it's hook, story, offer, hook, story, offer. It's over and over and over again. And every little section you create, you're technically doing it over and over again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What what are some of the secrets of a successful funnel? Like what are some of the things that are working the best right now in the funnel industry that you see?
Let me see, because like aside from that, like that front page, getting them to want to learn more, it's the back end. Like what automations are you using? When do you use them? Like once they're a lead and they still haven't become a buyer, what are your workflows behind the scenes, right? Or we used to call them email sequences. Now they're called workflows. What pain points, anything are you speaking to when they still haven't become a buyer? Once they do become a buyer, make sure you have a tag in place or something or a workflow that takes them out of that email sequence of a lead. Now you want to speak to them as a buyer. And you automate all that, right? Maybe you have upsells in there. Maybe you have something they could upgrade. Or maybe you want to make sure, hey, you bought this thing. Make sure you come to the webinar, to the class, or you log into the thing. You still want to help them out. You still want to speak to them, right? If they buy the upsell, no longer talk to them as a first product buyer.
Yeah.
Speak to them in a different tonality. Hey, that's awesome, you know. But make sure you automate that and make sure you have triggers in place to take them out of the first stage they were at, because now you're just going to annoy them.
Yeah.
And you're going to confuse them. And then in that process, what we could draw here.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah,
I think this is something that I wanted for you to share too, because that video that you shared with me about some other ideas on how to upsell or downsell some people, I would love for you to chat a little bit about that as well. If you.
Oh yeah, I would love to. It's something I coined as, and if people start calling it this, you heard it here first. I call it resurrection loops. Like when it comes to sales, and what do you mean by that? Well, if someone sees your offer and they don't buy right away, that doesn't necessarily mean they're not interested. It could simply mean a lot of things. It could be that they weren't ready at that point. Maybe they got distracted. Like most of the time when people see your stuff, they're busy. They're probably at the grocery store or something, and maybe they started their checkout process, but let me check this other stuff when I get home. Which, on a side note, now that I mentioned them being at the grocery store and everything, please, please, please make this a priority. focus on the mobile design of your funnel. You're going to see people promoting themselves as funnel builders, and they love showing that desktop view because it looks way prettier. But 98% of people who ever see your funnel are never going to see that because they're seeing it from their phone.
Yeah.
So make sure you prioritize the design of your funnel on a phone.
That's a big takeaway over here.
Dude. And design it separately. Like, you have an option to do desktop only and mobile only. Like me personally, when I build funnels, I do start out on the desktop side because it's easier to get the ideas. But I clone every section. Like the first section, I clone it and I make one desktop only, the other one mobile only, so I could reconstruct it any way I want to fit a phone without affecting the other side.
Yeah.
But I do the whole thing. A lot of people, well, let me just do a headline. No, let's do the whole thing. Clone the section so you can modify it, make the pictures different, make them fit a phone. Not be like, oh, well, I had a person here and a person here with a video in the middle, but now on a phone, I could only fit the video because the people are lost on the sides. No, dude. Go in Photoshop or Canva, design the people on top of the copy, and let the video be under them.
Yeah.
Make it still look just as good because that's where people are going to be seeing your stuff. Right?
Yeah.
So
for sure.
So that's one thing, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Let's get back to resurrection loop.
Yeah. So let's say about upsells and downsells and everything, right? And you could correct me if the math is wrong with this. I'm not good with quick math because I'm just making this up as I go. But let's say someone bought your core product, and you offer them an upsell. Let's say that upsell is, I'll put it here in the corner, $400. Don't mind my horrible handwriting there.
Is it?
Is it showing?
It's not showing.
Oh man. Well, cool. That gives me time to erase this horrible letter I did here. Yeah.
It's kind of interesting. Yeah. No duplicated. All right, go ahead. Go ahead and write again.
Is it working there?
Well, I guess, yeah.
Hey, we could try to explain it.
Yeah.
It's easier if you draw it out, but I think I could explain it good enough. So let's say you have an upsell, a first upsell, and it's $400. When you're creating an upsell, you want to try your hardest to have a second part to it that complements it. Meaning, you have your upsell that's worth $700, but you're going to give it for $400. Right there alone, you're like, ooh, that's nice. But when you buy it, you're going to get this second part that's worth $200 or $300 for free. So now you're getting basically a $500 value for only $300 when you buy the upsell, right? Because we're giving you this free second part. Picture it under it, like this free second part, to make the upsell like almost a no-brainer, right? But if they say no to it, when they hit no thank you, and you know it goes down to a downsell page, what are you going to offer on that downsell page? The product you were going to give for free on the upsell. But you got to remember, it needs to complement the other product. Why? Because let's say if they say yes to that downsell, once they get it and they log into it or start partaking in it, whatever it is, little by little, they're going to be into it. Of course, make sure it's valuable. Don't be ethical about it, but they're going to notice, man, this is great, but I realize I need that part I said no to, right? So there, either in your course or in your email sequences, you could offer them that same product they say no to again. So you resurrect the sale.
Yeah.
Right? But now what's cool about it, you can offer it to them at, like, say $100 off. And they're going to feel like, oh man, this was actually a smart move, say no, because now I got it cheaper. But the truth is, they bought the down sale that would have been free. So even though they're getting the upsell product cheaper now, you as the funnel builder, the owner, still made $100 more than what you were going to make because they had bought the downsell already, and you gave them a discount on the upsell, but they bought it, in addition to the downsell. So I know it's hard to follow because we're not drawing it out.
Yeah.
But
I think that was so smart when I was watching that video.
Yeah.
Like I think you talked about like, hey, if you were selling it at like $397 or something like that, and once you kind of do that resurrection loop, you actually can sell it because of the down sell plus that old product that they were gonna be getting before. Now you can make like over like $497 because that way when you resurrect it, you make more money.
Yeah, while doing them a favor of saying, hey, you know what? I know this was at $300 or $400,
Let's decrease it.
but I'll give it to you for $300. And they're like, oh man, thank you. But technically, they paid you more money because they bought the down sale.
Yeah.
So it ends up being like $100 more in this example. Now that's one way to do it. But let's say if they said no to that, like, oh man, you could still resurrect the sales process. A lot of people, if you always see funnels, like once they say no to the downsell, even if they have an upsell after that, it goes into this endless loop. And after the final no, it ends up, on a confirmation page saying, hey, thank you. It's like, no, man, you could do more. You could help them more while also making more money, but you could help them more. It's not, because I'm making more money and not helping them. Like, instead of ending it on a confirmation page, it says, oh, thank you. Like, why not put a little survey saying, hey, we noticed you didn't buy these products. We want to know why so we could serve everyone better. Take this quick little survey and we'll send you something free. Whatever it is. It could be something via email, PDF or something, right? Once they take that survey and they answer these questions, you have the survey or the quiz set up to where once it's finished, it sends them somewhere else. So let's say you have 3 other products. You could have a $27 product, a $47, and then say a $97 one. If based on their answers, the survey spits them to a page that says, hey, based on your answers, now we understand why you didn't buy this stuff. You're not at a position where you should. We don't think you should buy it. But we do have this smaller course, which I think could get you started. It's only $27. So, they take that now. What do you think the upsell is going to be?
The $47
product, right? But let's say, and then, the upsell will be $97, and then they're back in that loop. And at the same time, they're growing and becoming the person to where it makes sense for them to buy that initial product you were offering them. So that's great. But let's say they said no to that. And I don't even think I had this in the video. This is where the whole marketing nerd stuff comes out. Let's say if you get them all the way down, they took the survey, they land on the $27 product page, and they still said no. You have pixels in your funnel. So how cool would it be if that was you and you saw this $27 product, you're on the fence about it, or again, your dog started barking because someone rang your doorbell, you lost focus, but you retarget them with a custom audience now in your Facebook ads. People who landed on this $27 product page, show them an ad.
Yeah.
Say, hey, what's up, man? Tim here. I noticed that, like you were checking out the $27 product or whatever the name of it is. This is why it's so good. Check out these testimonials of people that took it. So literally take advantage that you could pixel all these pages. Say if they landed on the downsell page and they didn't take the survey to even get to that point. Okay, create a custom audience, people who landed on the survey page but didn't reach the other ones. Custom audience, now show an ad to them. It takes time to do all this, but once you create all these little tiny ads and custom audiences, your system is on this automated loop and it's constantly selling for you, because now it could be like, and it becomes to the point where people are like, man, this dude is like onto me. It's like, I didn't take that survey. And now he's in my face in an ad saying, hey, I noticed you didn't take that survey. As we mentioned, we were going to give you this for free. The offer ends in 24 hours. If you take the survey, we'll still get it to you. We just want to know how we could help you more.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Man, that was a master class over here. I wish, since this is the first time we're using this on this talk show, and I had to create some of these things right before, maybe there was something that I didn't do correctly, but
yeah,
I wish you were able to show it in there, but that was a master class.
Thank you, man.
Yeah, so you mentioned about retargeting ads and all of that. Where do you see video and quality plays as it relates to promoting the funnels and all the other retargeting ads?
Oh, it plays a huge part. Like a lot of people are like, oh, this works. And you could, nowadays phones are so good, but at least your audio needs to be good, man.
Yeah.
And say if you know that it's not going to be good because you decided to record spontaneously and you have your gear, make it feel like that's what it is. In other words, your camera's going to be kind of crappy. Acknowledge it. It's like, hey guys, I know like the sound is off and everything. Sorry about that. But I wanted to talk to you about this. Don't be like trying to make it sound and look all professional when it clearly isn't, because it becomes a distraction. If you acknowledge the distraction at the beginning, people respect it. Like, okay, cool. Another thing, kind of on the same topic of video, because it just came to mind. If you're gonna, this is more like on training people on how to do the videos. If you're gonna do a video and it's like action, go, and you're moving, please, for the love of God, take 2 steps before you start talking. There's nothing worse than when you're on a video and you go, "Hi, my name is Tim." It's so fake.
Yeah.
And people feel that. It's like you already did that hook. You created enough of a pattern interrupt to where they want to watch your video. If it feels like someone said action, you already lost them, because it's not that insults them or anything, but it's a distraction, and they're already thinking, "Oh, you could tell someone said action right there," and they already missed your first 3 words. On to the next one. So make it flow. Understand that if you're flowing through social media or something, you're scrolling. Like one of my first mentors called it, like, you suffer from scoliosis.
Scoliosis.
Yeah. So you're flowing, and that, take advantage of that flow. Don't make it feel like, hey, they stopped to watch it, and it's like, create that flow. And speaking of that, because again, if something comes to mind, I don't want to miss out on it, because I know it can help people, is when you are creating your funnel on the phone version of the design, and it's a weird way to describe it, but make sure it's finger friendly. What do I mean by that? If you're scrolling and there's this part was what made you want to buy, make sure there's a button there at a thumb's reach. Right?
Love it.
If for some reason you can't fit it there, make sure the wording doesn't quite end there, so they need to scroll up to finish reading that little part, and there's the button. But don't put it where they're like have to scroll and scroll and scroll and scroll to find a button to buy from you.
Yeah.
There needs to be a call to action with a button as many times as possible.
Yeah, that's why I was gonna suggest like making it like repeatable, like adding it multiple times within the screen too, because obviously if this keeps scrolling, don't put it all the way at the top and then never repeat it again until like later, but giving them as ample opportunity to press that button
100%.
if they are scrolling from the page.
And use it to your advantage / don't be lazy with it either. In other words, if you're gonna put a button, don't make that button have the same call to action the previous one did. Have it relate to that part of the journey they're in. Like if you just wrote this amazing copy, it's like mic drop. Let that call to action and the pre-call to action, the little sub-headline about it, complement what they just read. It's like, are you ready to do whatever you just read? Oh man, yes. Don't be join now, register now. Like, no, speak to them. Take advantage. You have full freedom to create whatever you want. So let it speak to them. Don't be generic about it.
I love it. As it relates to copy and ads, what are some of the things that you typically recommend people when they're creating those ads to drive people to their funnel, or even retargeting ads as well? What is the structure? How does that look like for those people when they're creating those types of content? Or are there specific ads that you typically recommend for people that are creating?
Yeah, I mean,
those?
I think you think of the audience first and meet them where they are. So if it's a retargeting ad, kind of like what I was already talking about, be borderline creepy about it. Like make it feel like this is so weird. How does he know I was on this page? Because you're talking about it. It's like, hey man, I just saw check this out. If you're starting out with a cold audience, focus on the pain that we were talking about. It's like if you're just starting out cold, they don't know who you are. Hook them by saying, pretty much letting them feel it's like, man, he mentioned what I'm going through.
Yeah.
This is a person worth mentioning. Like be very bold about it. Like people are scrolling so fast. Like you need to hook them and you need to be outside of the box while being genuine at the same time. Like this is what I know you're going through. So hook them with that. Another thing I would recommend, more on the video side inside the funnel. This is what I do a lot with like clients too, is let's say if your initial offer / lead magnet was like a free PDF or something. Once they opt in for that, normally what happens? They end up on your sales page so you could pitch them something, right? Mm-hmm. So you want to start out the video on there saying, hey, your free guide is on the way. And very specifically in the words, you want to go, you know how? There's a few reasons to this, little technique. So you start out, your free guide is on the way. Take a pause. You know how, and when you say you know how, you're going to basically talk about specifically to the pain. It's the same thing like they call it like, say if you're like in an elevator pitch or you're just meeting someone says, hey man, so what do? Do you think they really care? No. It's human nature / being polite. They don't care what you do until you make it about them. And how do you do that? Say if I asked you, hey, well, what do you do? Well, I have a studio, but it's like, no. Well, you know how a lot of entrepreneurs struggle to create content because they're this bad on camera? Yes, I know. That's me.
This is so good. I'm glad that you're mentioning that. I stopped using that, and that is a great reminder to do that. Basically, I created that one-liner starting with you know how, mm-hmm. and then kind of finishing it like, with the problem and then the solution. Mm-hmm. And I stopped doing that. So thank you for reminding me of doing that. Like I completely stopped.
Yeah, I'll do it. It helps so much but going back to the video, so you start with that. Hey, your free guide is on the way, or whatever it is you offer them. You know how, and you go into that. So the reason for the pause is because let's say if we just met and you're very interested in what I have to offer, I'm not going to go to you, well, you need to go to tim.com / free guide, get this free guide you're not asking for to then see what I have to offer you. No. You're gonna make the root domain of your funnel go to a clone of that same sales page with that same video, but now in the clone where your root domain is going, so we have a conversation, I go, yeah, just go to tim.com. You see the same video, but since I made that pause, I could edit out the part that says, hey, your guide is on the way, because it's not going to make sense to you. A lot of people make the mistake of using that sales page that comes after the lead magnet, because you could create 100 lead magnets that could say the same thing. Hey, your free thing is on the way. But if someone's going there for the first time without doing the lead magnet, they're like, wait, what free guide? What are you talking about?
Yeah.
So you say, hey, go to tim.com, and the video starts, you know how, versus your guide's on the way.
Yeah.
You know how. So those little tweaks like that, I'm telling you, it makes, because you got to, yes, we're on the online world, but most of your connections happen in person. So you need to think way ahead and be like, man, if that happens and they want some information, I could say, hey, man, just go to tim.com and you'll see everything there. You want the video to make sense. You don't want to seem like a rookie or confuse anyone.
Yeah, I think this is a great take over here because, I mean, for me specifically, as I was like building this stuff, I was thinking about creating different videos for that. But by doing this pause and doing like, you know how, starting with that video, you can have those in multiple pages and kind of have the same message on there without having to create multiple videos.
100%. And another thing, again, if we're just talking about funnel tips and tricks, is let's say if you're offering a free guide or whatever it is, and it has several bullet points in it, if you could teach on each of those things, include as a bonus, sometimes don't even advertise it. Like when they get that free guide, say, by the way, as an extra bonus or as extra value, for say if you have 5 bullet points in that guide, for the next 5 days, we're going to be sending you a lesson on each of those bullet points. So now they get the guide, and you let them know, look out for that first email that's going to be titled, or subject line is going to be XYZ. So you kind of treat it as a launch funnel. Have you ever seen a launch funnel? Like back in the day, it's like the first page would be a video, and on top it would have the little videos, and they will be locked.
Yeah.
So you do the same thing with your own free guide. So they get the guide. The next day when they get the email to watch that first video, they click on it. It goes to a funnel page, and they get to watch that first video, make it full of value, just at that first bullet point about that guide. But above that video, there's 4 other little screenshots of videos. If you want to make it really cool, here's a little trick. Make a GIF of the video and upload that as an image, and it looks like it's actually playing.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, and you put a little play button over it, like in Canva or something.
Yeah.
And you put this video available tomorrow, and the next one's unavailable. You put little locks on them. It drives people nuts. They want to see it. So now they're expecting that email the next day, which allows them to click on it. And the more clicks you get in your emails, it tells, Gmail and everyone, you're not sending spam. You have people interacting. So make sure you have those videos up there because they're going to want to see it. It makes them coming back. It takes, they used to say 7 points of contact. Now it's like 13, they're saying, for someone to buy from you. So that helps you do that. One other thing, and it's really cool, shout out to Ryan if he sees this, one of my clients. He actually goes to Myron Golden's Bible study too. 2 weeks ago, he sat next to me. He goes, bro, because I built one of his funnels. He goes I've been too busy to be even running traffic to this thing, but I have this one video on YouTube that always gets traffic to it, right? But the thing we did works like clockwork. And as he's telling me this, we both get an email because I always set my notifications up, even for my client stuff, to kind of keep track of it. And basically, we set this up because he gives a free guide. He does the whole video thing exactly like I just explained. But that first email that goes out, I make sure I don't include any links or anything. It's just saying, hey, Tim here. Your free guide should be here in about 5 minutes or so. Could you do me a favor? To avoid it going to spam, can you just reply and let me know that you got this right? Received. All day, people received. So now that triggers your email provider or whatever you want to call it, Yahoo, Gmail, whatever. It tells itself, okay, this isn't spam.
I love it.
It replied to it, and now you never have to worry about it going back into spam because someone replied, or they looked, or say if it did go to spam on your thank you page, they say, hey, make sure you check your spam folder. They check it out, they reply to it, hey, received. Now it knows, hey, he actually wants to receive these emails. That helps out a ton.
Yeah, that is a masterclass. You have a lot of masterclass things, and I think that speaks volume to the person that you are too. Because when the very first text that I texted you, we were talking about funnels, and I told you that I was working on the playbook, and then you took the time to text me back and say, hey, have you considered taking some pieces of that and creating a bunch of content around that and provide it as an actual bonus? And I thought that was a very genius idea to kind of doing that, because now they're going to feel like they're getting even more value to what we were already providing them. So thank you for that. I appreciate that.
My pleasure, man.
Yeah. We are nearing the close of the talk show today, and I feel like we need to have a part 2. Okay. Because there's so much value. I mean, even so much. I have 50 different questions that I have planned for you on the talk show, and we didn't even ask maybe even a single one of them. So definitely needs to do part 2. So do you have any other tips and tricks and things like that you would like to share today as it relates to funnel building? And
yeah, sure. I mean, because the one question I get a lot, or people who approach me, is hey, I'm writing a book, I want to sell it. What a little trick I like to do, and it varies because some people say, oh, I want to put it on Amazon first, and I want to become a top seller before I do anything in my funnel. I can't do anything there. But if you're gonna sell it in your funnel, there's a few things that you could do. It's I always tell people first, actually put it on Amazon for way more than what you're going to sell it on your funnel for. Why? Well, let's say you want to sell it for $24. Put it on Amazon for $100. So now the first thing you could start is hey, you could get it on Amazon right now. Go check it out. It's $100. Or you could get it here for 24. Or you do a different thing where you're or you could get the audiobook with the training, kind of implement what I already talked about, adding little trainings and stuff. You could get the whole training with the audiobook for $97, and I'll give you the book for free. So get it on Amazon, just the book, for $100, or get the course, the audiobook, for $100, and the book for free. Which one are you going to buy?
Yeah.
That one. So right there, you just sold your $24 book for $100. Because the audiobook, How do you, or you don't even have to record it anymore? Have you ever used like 11 Labs?
Yeah, I've seen somebody posting about that maybe in the past couple of weeks, like using 11 Labs to like basically record the whole audiobook.
Oh, dude, it's like I've used it, and not for my own, because I don't have a book, but I have clients that do. You literally you record your voice in there, like they give you a sentence to read, and it captures your voice. AI is crazy now, dude, and you just copy paste in your whole like chapter by chapter, and it does it in your voice. Like you could have a whole book done probably within an hour, taking your time with it and everything. And then you do those videos, you just record that once. It's not like you need to do it over and over again. So just with a day's worth of work, instead of selling your book for $24, you're giving it away for free. You're really selling it for $100. But do the Amazon thing first, or post it several places for $100 or more. And say, hey, you could buy it there, but just, bro, get it here. I'll give it to you for free.
Yeah.
And I'll just buy the web class and everything.
Yeah, by providing so much more value, posts and doing that too, that increase the perceived value of the overall
100%.
thing too. So
yeah, and then like as far as advertising goes, you could just now make your videos about your class and stuff, not so much about the book, or vice versa. Test it out. Still promote your book and everything, not talking about, hey, you could get it on Amazon yet. Wait, let the funnel do that.
Yeah.
But just talk about the book and the lessons that comes with it and everything. And then once they get to the funnel, they're like, oh man, I'm just gonna buy it here.
Yeah.
And then that, gets them in your ecosystem, your email list, any upsells you want to offer.
Yeah. One thing I wanted to chat about today, and we'll probably reserve that, was the value ladder. And you just kind of like briefly talked about that, the different levels and things that you can do to kind of really sell, your overall product.
Yeah.
We'll table that for the next time.
Yeah, for sure. And it's funny though, because like the value ladder, the way I do it's almost like backwards. It's like walking down. Like with the whole downsell thing. It's like, hey, there's even the $27 product here on that first step. But so you kind of reverse it. You could start out at the top of the ladder, make your way down if you have to.
Yeah.
And then they work their way back up.
Yeah.
Versus just starting from there, they'll probably never see what you have to offer on top. You start from the top and work the way down, they're most likely going to come back up. So that's another way of looking at it.
And that's exactly why I wanted to chat about that. We'll save that for next time. Like following up to the question about the video, what is the minimum requirement for videos? Like how many videos should people shoot to for the whole funnel system? Is it 10 ads or one VSL? Like, what do you see in your world?
Like what I usually do, I'll do like that first video on that landing page, right? Where it kind of speaks to their pain and everything and gets them in. Then depending on the type of funnel, if you're doing like a challenge funnel, let's say you have like a general admission and VIP, don't be lazy. Make sure after they opt in and they need to choose between VIP and general admission, have a video on the next page explaining that general admission is awesome. Here's what you get. But if you really want to step it up, here's what's included in VIP. Don't just expect them to read all of that. No, they're going to buy the general admission every single time if they buy at all, right? After they do buy, depending on what they bought, and let there be a paid little video on the general admission confirmation. But hey, congratulations. Here's what to expect. If they're VIP, here's what to expect and everything. The general admission mixed with videos and email. If they bought the general admission, make sure you have them set to a separate list where you let them know, hey, you can upgrade to VIP. Check out these testimonials from people who were on the VIP last time. Do that on the same thing on the confirmation page. They bought general admission. Make sure you say, hey, by the way, there's still time to upgrade. Check out this video below of some people that took VIP. So as far as amount of videos or number of videos, that depends on the funnel flow.
How many videos do you typically recommend for the front end, like ads and stuff like that, to drive people to the funnel?
I like do it. There's a few different styles, so probably like at least 3 to 4. Like at my event I just did, part of the training is yes, we have a professional come in, it records them like the main VSL, but then we want to have a more human part to it. So I'll bring the little Osmos, the Osmo Pagos, and I have them hold it. It's like, here's how you script it, and I want them to record it. piece by piece, not only so they could learn how to record, but people like that on social media. You want a more human touch to it, you know. They're outside sweating and everything. So I would say have some human touches like that. Also, have some that just provide value in general with no call to action. You don't want to always be selling. Say like Gary Vee wrote a book on it. Was it jab,
Jab, right hook,
or something? So have videos like that to where when you finally do a call to action, like, oh man, I didn't know he even offered this. Versus it always being offered. Like it's almost like you treat it almost like whenever I'm explaining ads to people, I don't think I should do ads and why you should really do them. I coined this years ago. I call it like the bird feeder rule. And what I mean by that, it's like, imagine if you like to watch birds. You're like, you know, those people that are literally bird watchers. That's their hobby. You know, imagine if this was a bird. If I come up to it with some seed, hey man, it's
fly away.
It's gonna fly away. You crazy? It's gonna leave you, creep. You know. But if I hide behind a window and I just put a little bird feeder there, the birds are gonna feel like they discovered it, and they're making the decision to partake of the seed. No one's convincing them. No one likes to be convinced. No one wants to be sold. So you just put it out there. It's the same thing with your ads, with your funnels, with your videos. Hey, this is content. There's no call to action on it. It gives a vibe that you are indifferent if they buy or not. Say, hey, this is just free advice, you know? Yeah. Eventually, when they come across and they discover what you do offer, they feel like it was their decision to buy it from you, and it makes the sale way easier. You know, it's like, I think it's Myron that calls it like, they don't smell, it's like commission breath or something. It's like, they don't feel like you're desperate to sell them, you know? Yeah. That's super helpful too.
Yeah. I'm going to add one more thing before we close out of that from the video standpoint that you said. So when people are producing ads or stuff like that, so there's like 4 buckets typically before they even see the, like, you know, high response, like, you know, ad that you have that is truly selling your product. The first thing that you should do is to create those problem solution ad, which is what you alluded to, are the ones that are providing tons of value. So those are the first one. The second bucket is philosophy video, which is kind of like, you know, talking about the things that you truly believe in and truly believe in, like, you know, things that you're like, you know, as is core to your business. And then the third one is the day in the life,
the lifestyle
ad, the lifestyle one that you're saying, like, you know, you're doing with the, you know, cell phone or like, you know, the quality Osmos, and then now the true ad. So it's kind of like a sequence. So you're posting more of the like problem solution, and then they watch that, they get retargeted with the philosophy video, and then when they watch that, they get retargeted with the day in the life types of video, and then they get to, like, you know, the really.
It's technically, if you think about it, it's almost like a hook story offer all over again.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like, what do you hook them with? Here's your story. Oh wait, there's an offer, right? And one thing if I could stress to people, and this is speaking to myself. If you're naturally not a person that likes to record yourself constantly, I'm not. But it seems like the people that have a pretty cool life are the ones that don't like recording it. You know, like, praise God, my family and I we travel a lot. We do a lot of cool things. And I'm like, man, I should have recorded that. Like right now, I have some clients that travel all the time. And I'm like, dude, record when you're over there and talk about your thing. Because like say in their case, what they sell pretty much is life freedom, right? It's like, bro, you're where? You're in Europe, where? You're in this place, you're in this place. Record a quick selfie video. It doesn't have to be, it's like, hey guys, I'm over here in Paris and everything. It's really cool, blah, blah, blah. I'm able to do this, as you know, because what I've been talking to you about.
Yeah.
You know, like if you want to do this too, here's the proof, it works.
Yeah.
You know, and sometimes we just get too involved in what we're doing, or we just don't want to be that guy taking a selfie video.
Yeah.
And we don't do it.
Yeah. And one recommendation too, if you are doing that, record those videos like horizontally versus vertically, because you can use that like in, like, you know, like regular ads. You can crop it to be vertical, but like if you record it like, you know, the other way, it's going to be hard for you like, to turn it
to repurpose it.
To repurpose
but
it.
When you do add it to social media, crop it.
Yeah.
Don't make it wide. You know, it's like sometimes with longer videos, it could be a little trickier if you're moving around and stuff. But yeah, but understand like cater to where you're posting it. You know, like
Yeah,
if it's
for
on,
sure.
on Instagram or something, again, the whole scrolling, you don't want your video to be like this oddball size. If you have to keep it horizontal, go really quick and add like a cool image at the bottom of it and on top. You know, sometimes you could do like the ripped paper
Yeah.
type of look or something, so it fills in the whole vertical space.
Yeah.
That's super helpful.
Awesome. Well, Tim, it was such a pleasure having you on the
Thank
show
you.
today, man. And I think like we should do like more of a training session the next time too.
That'll be fun.
That would be really cool. But yeah, thank you for coming and sharing
Thank
your
you for having
knowledge
me,
on the show today. I hope everybody that were watching this, like, you know, got something out of it. I think like the part about the resurrection loop that you shared was like super valuable.
Thank you.
The NICU-preneur, super valuable. The thing that you talked about, like about your stutter too, extremely valuable. So thank you,
Thank you
so
so
much for
much.
sharing that. So thanks everybody for watching. Appreciate you. Let's go, baby. It's fire. It was awesome, man.
Thank you, man.
Let's go. Boom.